Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to government class. This class is basically for the O-level students. In one of our classes, we've defined the concept of government. Then we also talk about state. That was what we discussed last week. We talk about state, we define state. Then we also examined features of state or characteristics of state. Then we also differentiate state from nation, and we also mentioned that state is also different society and so on and so forth. Then I give us an assignment that we should discuss the relationship between state and government. So that's what we discussed last week. Then this afternoon, we want to look at a brand new topic, and the topic is wide. So we are not going to finish it today or round up the topic today. So we continue wherever we stop in our next meeting. The topic is simple and it is called basic concepts of government. Basic concepts of government. So it means that we have many of them. That's why I say concepts. So we are going to discuss number of basic concepts of government. So there are a lot of them. So we're going to take them one after the other and then discuss them in details. So all the knowledge we need to have about these basic concepts will be given to us one after the other. Then the first one I want us to look at this afternoon is the concept of power. Power. So concept of power, that's what we're going to look at this afternoon. When we talk of power, power or the word power metamorphosed from a Greek word. A Greek word. That is where the word power was coined out from. Greek word. Power is called in Greek, it is called dunamis. Dunamis. That is what the Greek people refers to as power. So in Greek, when you say dunamis, it means power. So the English version of dunamis is power. So the Englishman coined that word from a Greek word called dunamis, that they name it power. And that's why we check the English dictionary and the Greek dictionary. You find out that dunamis and power is under the same part of speech. So it is so, and then the concept of power has been defined by different teachers from the discipline of social science, particularly from the discipline of social science, and particularly in political science. Many writers have spilled different definitions about power, but the general knowledge of power is that power is the capacity. Power is the capacity to affect an other's behavior by the threat of action. That is power. That is ability or capability or capacity that somebody use to influence another person's behavior, either by threatening the person, by saying, if you don't do this, I will sanction you. If you don't do this, I will deal with you. If you don't do this, I will show you, and so on and so forth. That is power. And the concept of power is so common. It's a common phenomenon that people experience in their everyday lives, in their everyday lives, in their everyday activity. In school, you find out that a senior student bully junior students or students. in place of work, you find out that boss or the head of a particular organization will be marginalizing the junior staff, the senior staff marginalizing the junior staff. On the street or by road or when you drive, you find out police and men or uniform maltreating people or the ordinary civilians as they call people, and so on and so forth. So power, even at home, you find out the elder brother or elder sister marginalizing or maltreating the younger ones, and so on and so forth. You find that in some families, father maltreating or using power over the wife, and so on and so forth. So power is the concept of power is a common, is a general thing that people or that we experience in our everyday lives. So it is not totally abstract like the concept of state that we discuss. Although we cannot touch power, but the operation and operandi of power is very omnivorous, very obvious, very effective in nature, and so on and so forth. Power, we made mention of sanction in our definition. Sanction can be negative, can be positive. Yes. And that's why one can use power in a negative way or positive way. Even in church, power is evidence or evidable. In church, in mosque, in markets, and so on and so forth. So if you look at all these places that I've mentioned, one can use power in any of these places in positive way or in negative way. Some people has power and they use it to affect people in a positive way that can encourage them that, oh yes, I will pick after this fellow. I want to be like him. I want to help others just as this woman helped me. And then some person use power in negative way that affect other people's behavior in a negative way too, that change their perception about life, particularly when they have power, and so on and so forth. So power is like that. Then political leader also use power. That's why we're looking at it in a governmental perspective now. Political leaders, the president, the governor, the deputy governor, the vice president, the senators, the House of Representatives, rich men, they use power. So political power is used by political leaders, by political actors, by political players to do or to control the actions of other people in the state or in the country at large. Power also operates at international level. We are going to discuss that maybe when we look at power in the A-level class for the IJB students and GPA students. So the concept of power is, and then power is used to refrain others, and power is also used to influence others. That is, you use power to deny people of certain things, of certain privileges that belong to them. They also use power to influence people to do what they wouldn't have done ordinarily or in their own accord without being forced. So power has this element of force in its power. And then we will go to forms or types of power. The first one that is going to be our focus is what we call political power. Political power. Political power, as the phrase political power suggests, it means that the power that is bestowed on people who attain power through political activities, or people who engage in the game of politics. So by the time they are elected, by the time they are voted into political office, then they have political power to take decision, to legislate, to govern the people, to direct, to give command, and so on and so forth. Political power. And that's why I want you to understand this. Political power belongs to the people, but the people give it out to the political office holder during election. And that's why once a president is voted in, the people become subject to him. Once a governor is voted in, that is, the people in that particular state become subject to him or his subjects. So it means that through election, the people give out their power to an individual man who now possess political power, who now rule over them, who now take decision on their behalf, and decision that will affect them, decision that will influence them, decision that might not be of interest to them. But they have no choice because they have given their power to such a leader during election. And that's why it is very good to vote wisely during election. Then the second type of power or form of power is what I title economic power rather. Economic power. Economic power is so germane, although it is quite different from political power. Economic power is different from political power in the sense that political power is attained through the consent of the people and the constitution of the land. And because every constitution of a country or country's constitution stipulates the process of attaining power in countries. But when we talk of economic power, it could be a power that an individual possesses, a claim to himself as a result of the level of economic resources that he or she has. For instance, Dangote in our world today, particularly in Africa, he has economic power. He can influence a lot of things, socially, economically, even politically. I remember when Obasanjo came out of prison, and during Obasanjo, when he came out and he was campaigning, Dangote massively supported Obasanjo. And when Obasanjo eventually became a president, he called and said, I want to give minister. He said, no, I don't need, just give me the economy of Nigeria. And that's why today we are where we are. So the economy of Nigeria is at the hand of one man who has the economic resources. And that's why today you find Dangote this, Dangote that, Dangote this, Dangote that, Dangote this. Because one man is in charge of the economy, is in charge of the resources. Let me shock you. It was as a result of Dangote cement that Odetola cement industry was folded up. Just because of one man. So, economic resources gives one economic power. And that's why today, Nigeria cannot discuss, or Nigeria government or our political leader cannot talk about Nigerian economy without considering or putting into consideration how Dangote will feel and other business tycoons in Nigeria. So the country or government of different countries or different nations must always put into cognizance the presence and the position of the economic or business tycoons in their states before they take any policy or program on economic issue. So the next, let us look at military power. When we talk of military power is synonymous to shutdown power. Shutdown, that is power that people that are at the corridor of the instrument of violence as. When we talk of people that are at the corridor of the instrument of violence, people that have gun. And that is why Mao Tong, a Chinese scholar, say, give me gun and I will show you power. Because in the mouth of gun, there is power. So that's why if you say the Nigerian army carry gun, even when they don't even near you, you'll be dancing a willow. The same thing applicable to people that hold gun. So military power, and these people or this class of people usually come to power through what we call coup d'etat. Coup d'etat, that is the overthrow civilian government. And that was the experience, or Nigeria had this experience on January 15th, 1966. The primary aim of this type of power, why countries of the world have this class of people or brace of people in their countries, is to protect the state or the country against external aggression or against external crisis or conflict or war. But today, countries of the world, in one way or the other, have experienced military governments where the khaki people or khaki government took over power. So that is what we call military power. So military power is known as shutdown power. Then it is at the disposal of the military brace or the shutdown brace. Then the last type of power I want us to examine is what I call physical power. The application of force in compelling obedience in physical power. I told us that power is central in human society. At home, you find husband bullying the wife, telling the wife that I have 9 bones, you have 7 bones, so I have more bones than you. You see the elder brother or elder sister bullying the younger ones. I will slap you, pa. Physical power. In school, you find senior students bully junior students. Lead down there. Before you know, the senior student will crepe the boy, and the boy will land on the ground. So that is, I pick that paper, pick that, do that. This is physical power. So it is the art of using force to get results or to produce results. That is the nature of physical power. And physical power always brings discomfort to the person or people that power is infringed on or infringed upon. And that's why at times, if the person that the power is infringed upon cannot bear it, it results to what? To violence between the two parties, or it will result to conflict or fights. It happens in our secondary schools, in our primary schools, even in higher institutions where you have two different courts clashing. That is physical power. Then let me go look at sources of political power. I've told us that our major concern in this class is political power. Then how do I attain political power? That is the question we want to answer through this subheading. That's what I want to talk about. How political power can be attained, or how politicians, the sole political leaders, the sole political players or actors attain political power. One of the major source that is ubiquitous in the world is constitution. That is, it is general. So constitution is the major sources of power among all other sources. Is the major, is the top, because every constitution of the every country of the world has a constitution. Every country of the world has a constitution, and this constitution stipulates how political power can be attained. And that's why in Nigeria, our constitution stipulates the change of political power every 4 years. Then the age condition is also there in constitution. Then who to contest and who not to contest is also there in the constitution. The constitution specifies how power should be attained and how it should be exercised. Through elections, power held by people is transferred to the body called government. So that's why I told us earlier on that naturally and in line with what happened in state of nature, the people owns the power. Power belongs to the people. But when the establishment of government came, the people hand over their natural rights, their natural power to government or to a body called government. Then power can be attained, or political power can be attained through what we call coercion. Coercion means force. And this can only happen by the military brace. People who have the instrument of power or the instrument of violence. That was what happened to Shonekon before Abacha took over the head of state. Abacha went to Olusola and point gun to him and said, "Look, your life or power." And say, "No, my life." I said, "Right." And the man wrote that he resigned willingly and hand over to Abacha. That's how Abacha became a head of state. So that is coercion, forcing. You force yourself or forcing oneself into the position of power. That's why coercion power may be acquired through the use of force, e.g. the military, because they have gun. And Abacha was a soldier. So he point gun to Shoneka and say, "Is it your life or the Aso Rock?" And the man could, now Abacha died many years ago now. Shoneka is still alive because he was not intoxicated about power. So most developing countries, particularly Africa and Latin American countries, have experienced military overthrow or military taking over political power in different epoch or years or dispensation. Through economic resources, one can also attain power through economic resources. People, when you have money. And that's why today in Nigeria politics, or in not only Nigeria, countries in Africa and under developing countries, developing nations, apart from the advanced nation or developed nation, they use money to attain power. And that's why today we in Nigeria and other developing nations, we have what we call godfatherism syndrome. The godfatherism syndrome, when we talk of godfather, it means that these people are wealthy, they have money, they have resources, they have properties. But maybe because they have stained their own garments of contesting for political power, or because of age, they step aside and expulsion people, and then they make interest, they make profit. But people who have money are people or properties or firms or industries, are people that have what we call economic power, and that economic power serves as a source of power or attaining political power, because today politics is very expensive. Let me tell you the gospel truth. If you want to tell the world that you have arrived, you have made money, go into politics. Go into politics. You want to tell people that you have money. Through charisma, this power is attained or is given to people that have special skills or special level of intelligence in them. Charismatic power can be attained through intelligence or personal character or characteristics. That is charisma. Then the last one I want us to look at is inheritance. So inheritance is also a source of power. This source of power can also be called traditional source of power. Traditional source of power. This is based on heredity or tradition, and it is mostly within the royal families. Mostly within the royal family. So it's a tradition. That was the type of system of power that our traditional rulers had. Power acquired when the kingship or queenship is vacant. And the only traditional way by which the kingship or queenship position is vacant is when a particular king or queen dies. Then traditionally, particularly in Africa, the first son, depending on that African society norms, but majorly in most of the African, is that the first son inherits the traditional post or inherit the kingship position. So this all I have for us this afternoon, and because of our time, let me quickly give us this assignment. Discuss the limitations to all the discussed sources of political power. Yeah, you pick the first source I've mentioned in this class. Give us limitation to it, or tell us some of the limitation to it. Tell us the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, and so on and so forth. So just tell us the limitation to them all. Do we have any question? Any question? Okay, if there's no question and you are watching this lecture through our YouTube channel, I want to encourage you to continue to subscribe and also encourage your friends to join us, and we'll parrot to give you the best. Thank you and God bless you.